And so half of your money is going to be gone, um, all because nobody thought it through.
Yeah. Well, it's having that vision to make sure that we're taking care of the whole family, which is what the clients want in terms of making sure the assets get to the next generation, but also making sure that if there are any kind of healthcare needs, if there's another healthcare issue with the spouse outside the facility, look, we've got the people in place to handle it. The powers of attorney are in place to handle it. It all needs to be looked at. And again, I see so many times where it's just getting one spouse qualified and that's all they care about. Let everything else kind of fall where the chips will fall where they may. And that's not what the clients really want. They want the whole family protected. All right. So here's a fourth big one. And this is a direct issue when it comes to Medicaid planning. Because, like I mentioned, about 60% of the time, the caregiver spouse is the one who goes first. Well, if their old estate plan leaves everything to their spouse, which is extremely typical for these like reciprocal I love you wills, well, then that spouse passes on their assets once they get through probate court, end up going to the spouse, and they've got a limit of $2,000 in a checking account. And suddenly they could get kicked off of Medicaid all because there wasn't some alternative way of handling the other spouse's estate integrated into the whole plan. So, whenever we're doing this type of planning, we're using irrevocable trust, generally speaking, or if we're not, then we have the alternatives laid out. But mom and dad are not typically going to leave assets to each other directly without any kind of protection and supervision in a way that, we want to make sure we're not disqualifying anybody from Medicaid. Well, this is a very simple thing. Yeah, mom's in the nursing home, dad's got a will, and it says mom's the beneficiary free and clear of any trust. Dad dies, that money's mom's. So
Yeah,
we end up having, yeah, go ahead.
let me present it this way. Remember, we said do it yourself brain surgery? Probably not a good idea. Uh, hey, I went online and mom and dad are married. Yeah, they've got about this amount of money, and all they got to do is move a interspousal transfer. We can avoid gifting. Yeah, we'll do that. My next door neighbor told me they did that, and oh yeah, we filed the application. We got approved. But a either the professional or whatever, you didn't go deeper and look at the estate as it's now established, which is the will. So, yeah, I got mom on Medicaid, dad dies. Because of the old estate plan, all that money goes to mom, right? It got moved to dad to get qualified, but now all of a sudden mom owns it. Mom owns the house. All of a sudden, you don't qualify. And oh, we
Yeah,
just lost all kinds of options for preserving that money. The only thing we have left really is what, half a loaf, and so half of your money is going to be gone, um, all because nobody thought it through. It looked at
yeah.
behind the scenes, so to speak. What was the existing plan? What was the beneficiary arrangement? What was the payable on death? All those things, the wills.
If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
Let's clean that up and avoid, because it may not work out just as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, yeah, that's that's exactly it. You really do have to look at it comprehensively. And it's not just even comprehensively for one spouse. It's both and what happens at the next level. It happens every now and then. Mom or dad may need nursing home care, but one of the adult children is also a beneficiary with special needs and they're receiving
Mm.
disability and Medicaid and they need protection.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's got to also be integrated into the planning to make sure that after both mom and dad go, that we're not giving them an outright inheritance that could disrupt their benefits.
Mhm.
So that's 3 steps ahead
Mhm.
that we're looking when we're trying to protect the family.
Mhm.
Uh, eh, I apologize if it seems like I'm getting worked up. It's just the bar just appears to be so low for some attorneys that are saying, "Hey, yeah, I'm a Medicaid planning attorney," but that's all they're doing is, "Yeah, I can get you qualified for Medicaid." They're not really looking out for the entire family in the way that
Mhm.
their clients want them to. We want to make sure that we're not just meeting but exceeding expectations in that area when we're working with the family to put everything together for them.
By the way, a little caveat. I don't know everything out there, but I will tell you, Jeff, your document package, your checklist, your planning does get criticized because what's the proper word to use? Um, uh, you are very detail oriented and you go on and on. Why do we have to? Why do we? And all of a sudden, well, that's why you do the videos. Why do I have to do this? Why?
Yeah,
Why do? And you have those little segmented videos that explain to people this is why we have. Otherwise, people their eyes glaze over because why are we doing all this?
yeah.
So there is some effort that people have to put in to do it right to understand this. But I think you package it a good way with the videos you have that explain it.
Well, yeah, thank you. That's the videos really were a result of making sure that there was something that they could keep coming back to because this is more complex. So even if we're, you and I and the clients were sitting down at the table, walking through, here's what this trust is for, here's what this trust is for, here's what this document does, and they get it, a week later, they may not get it.
Right.
It slips a little bit. The videos are something they can keep going back to. And this is something that we also hear, but I think this is getting a little bit more to the complete toolbox setup, which is the fifth thing. So let's go ahead and venture into that. The fifth thing is attorneys leaving off documents that may not be needed now. They're not going to set up the full toolbox of trust and other documents that will allow all of these different options as things change down the road. So I'll start with uh, probably the biggest example. We have what we call the two trust solution, even though it's more than two trusts. There's the irrevocable property trust and the irrevocable family trust. The property trust is treated a certain way. It's designed really for real estate or other very, very highly appreciated assets. And the family trust is really designed for the money and the investments. And I hear this, well, we don't have any real estate. We don't need the property trust. Should we just leave that out? It's just making things more complicated. Well, no, no. Look, if we put all the assets that we're trying to protect into the irrevocable family trust, and then a potential real estate investment opportunity comes up that can be utilized with the money that mom and dad are setting aside, and it's not going to affect liquidity, it's going to be a good investment. You can move money from the family trust to the property trust and make the property purchase. Oh, well, that's never going to happen. Well, how do you know
Mhm.
it's never going to
Right.
happen? It's better to have it there and not necessarily need it than to end up saying, "Oh, well, hey, we got this great opportunity. Can't we just buy this into the family trust?" Well, here are all the things that are wrong with it. You could have used the property trust. We just set that whole package up. I kind of liken it to, well, look, you're not expecting to have your car break down on the trip to the grocery store because it's only 2 miles away. That doesn't mean you yank the spare tire out of the back of the car and just drive without it. It's there in case you need it. And so we do have a lot of spare tires. Um, The other one that I see a lot, I get questioned on a lot, it's the irrevocable funeral trust. It's designed to be there to capture and hold up to $10,000 if we need to divert money at the last minute to get to that Medicaid qualification. So all right, maybe we moved assets into the family trust, into the property trust. We've got the 5-year clock going. We get past the 5 years, but mom and dad still have $20,000, or let's just say it's one person. It's $20,000 that's there. We need to get it below two. Well, up to $10,000 can go into the funeral trust at that point. It doesn't matter if when we set it up 7 years before you didn't see a
Mhm.
need for it. The need could be at the time we're getting ready to put in an application, and we've got to spend down that last little bit. So there are lots of different contingencies.
Well,
So
or the recent one we had, hey, I didn't realize mom had a distant uncle that just left her 125,000 in money. So if we've got the toolbox set up right, we've got to, how are we going to deal with that? Well, we got the, like the
yeah,
property solution, but so no, there's things that you don't, we better have the options just in case.
right. It's just a toolbox that's going to help you get exactly where you need to be if the situation changes and you have to pivot. Now,
Yeah.
like I kind of
Yeah.
mentioned, these are plans that we can set up, and it may be 6, 7, 10 years or more before there actually needs to be a Medicaid application because, thankfully, mom or dad ended up staying healthier a lot longer and got to spend more
Yeah.
time with the family. But here we are. Now the situation might change a little bit. All right, everything is there to make whatever chess moves we need to make at the time.
Yeah. And then I'd also add, be careful of being penny wise and what pound foolish. Um,
Yeah.
oh, why do I have to do? I don't. Hey, I can get it done. My friend, the family law attorney, said he can get me on Medicaid by just doing this and that, and he'll do it for less than much half of what you'll charge. And I know every case is different, but
Yeah.
this is not about saving a few $1,000s. This is about saving thousands of dollars by doing a more in-depth plan. So don't again be penny wise and pound foolish. You get what you pay for, huh?
Well, that's the whole thing is look, it's costing 10, 12, $14,000 a month for nursing home care.
Mhm.
And okay, you've got several $100,000 worth of assets, and it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay you to protect all of that.
Mm-mm.
I need that money to spend on care. It doesn't make sense looking long term. But look, this is a problem. This is an issue that I see. They're kind of seizing up because they see that these costs are potentially coming, and they're afraid. "Oh, we can't spend money because we need to make sure that the care is taken care of." The care is actually the
Yeah,
main goal.
yeah.
The other part of that main goal is not spending any more than you have to, but to get the right type of plan that's going to preserve the most assets, not just for you, but for your spouse. And then down the road for the family, it means getting the right professionals to handle it the right way and look forward, not just qualifying right in front of you and then potentially losing the house to Medicaid
Hmm.
recovery, spending more money than you need to. It's all of those things that we really try to make sure that we're keeping those bad things away from our clients and their family.
No, I think that's what I see in the work you do, Jeff, with the team you've got, including the care assessment team, and
Oh
looking
yeah.
at the care needs and having our geriatric care manager explore those options. I mean, in my mind, the value's there, but that's for the, everybody to decide on their own.
Well, and I think that's very valuable too. That just in general, having someone who understands the care side of things and be able to walk you through the process, take a look at the different options, take a look at the medical things and see, all right, perhaps in our experience, instead of looking at these 40 different facilities, here are the top 3 that we think you should look at
Mhm.
first because we know that this facility is better at this. This other facility, well, they're better at something that's not really relevant. So let's look at this one. So understanding and knowing that, as well as honestly just a little bit of hand holding to make sure that the clients aren't getting overwhelmed or skipping steps, that's a valuable thing that we as a team make sure that we're integrating. But David, on the care side, that's a lot of what you do. There's a huge amount of value in making sure that the family knows and understands what's going on the care end at the same time, even though, okay, we're also looking out for preserving the money.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Not yeah,
undervalue that.
yeah, not just the planning and the money, but making sure you've got the appropriate level of care, understanding, and assistance and facility placement. It's one thing to qualify for Medicaid. It's another thing
Yeah.
to find the appropriate facility. That is huge, but you'll
Yeah.
discover that when a time comes.
Okay. Well, we've kind of gone through the big five things that I have. Are there any other items that you see that we want to talk about and cover?
I think you and I have talked about some professionals don't understand the snapshot rule and having to spend down more than they needed
That's
to
true.
by not looking at that or not understanding how a home is. Didn't we had a case recently we looked at where money was used to buy a home, but it didn't add up. And then we had that other deal where it was the property was moved into the trust year, then years later, the family had a problem. What was it? Getting the insurance? What was it? Getting the insurance company to insure it while it was in the trust. So they pulled it out, but didn't tell the attorney. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that just left it vulnerable.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of nitnoy things you better be dealing with somebody that man done some brain surgery.
well, and the other thing that also, just thinking about it, this seems to be just as almost a matter of course with a lot of Medicaid planning attorneys. That's different with the way we are handling things as a team. When that Medicaid application goes in, we're examining everything, or more appropriately, you and your team are really examining all the paperwork and making sure, because you know what Medicaid's going to look for.
Mhm.
A lot of attorneys just throw the paperwork in and wait to see what Medicaid
Right,
comes back
right.
with.
Mhm.
And here's your punch list of 10 to 20 things. And now suddenly it's delaying approval by several months while you fix those things. Well, if you have the opportunity to make sure that it's correct on the way in and it gets approved the
Right.
first time, that just
Yeah.
alleviates a lot of anxiety and it cuts out a lot of delays. But like I said, it's just often seems to be just a matter of course for some Medicaid planning attorneys. Eh, let's just submit it and see what happens.
Mhm.
I don't like that as a way of doing things.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot out there and a lot of moving parts. But let's be clear too. This is not you hire us and it's done. You have to assist us in assisting you, and this is not stress free. It's
Yeah,
not as if there isn't a lot to do on the client's part. So we will handhold you, but you have to keep a good personality and keep helping us because there will be twists and turns and things that come up that we
yeah,
didn't see that you. Oh, I didn't know that mom had that, and blah blah blah. So no, this isn't stress free. You have to
yeah.
assist us in assisting you.
And yeah, there are bumps that happen. Um, I remember one case, and this is going way back. You're only allowed to have your primary residence, no other real estate. Well, the caseworker said, "No, you've got an extra piece of real estate." And my client said, "I do." And apparently there was like a tenth of an acre lot that he forgot about. And the reason he forgot about it, it was on the side of a mountain and it was basically on top of rock. It was unbuildable. And so the value really should have been zero. But to make things happen, again, we pivoted and we found the right way to do it. We had a cousin just buy that tenth of an acre lot for $100, and we had the enough information to prove that it really wasn't worth any more than that. In fact, it was worth less. And then you spent down the $100. Problem ended up being solved. but he just totally forgot about that. And that's something that we had to address at the time.
Mhm. Yep. Be prepared to do, exactly that. Assist us in assisting you and keep a good personality as this goes forward. It's not our fault, but we do know what needs to be done and you have to help.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's definitely something that we have to do is manage expectations. And also, like you said, you got to manage a little bit of effort on the part of the clients to get us what we need and potentially do a
Mhm.
little bit of work yourself. It's not that you pay us and it's done, like, oh,
Mm-mm.
it's a travel agency and now suddenly we've got
Yeah.
everything all set up and all you walk on, you still have to
Yeah.
walk onto the airplane, you still have to get your own taxi to the hotel, but the hotel's booked, the flight's booked, we've got the tours going. You got to get to the tour. Okay, you don't just magically appear on the tour bus. You got to get there. Okay. So yeah, there's a little bit of work there. But we really try to make things so much easier and at least clearer, and just having a game plan helps out tremendously.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add before we kind of close things out for this one?
No, I think that covers a lot longer than I think we went longer than we wanted to, but it covers a lot, covers what needs to be covered.
Okay. All right. So if anyone needs to get a hold of me, you can reach me through the law office at 919-844-7993. And we also have our free Medicaid course that's out there, and that's exactly where it is, www.freemedicaidcourse.com. And that contains my book, The Long-Term Care Solution, as well as our extensive questionnaire if you do need to get started. So, David, how can people get a hold of you if they have questions for you or if they have some veterans issues they want help with?
Well, certainly going through you would be a good idea. And we talk, you and I talk every other day. Uh,
Yeah.
but if they strictly had veterans type questions, it would be a call to our office, 919-825-1300, and leave a message. Or I actually prefer if you're texting, if somebody was to text me, I like getting back that way. My direct text number, 919-245-7568, 919-245-7568.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you again for being with us today, David. And as I always tell my clients, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And whatever you do, make it a great day.